Happy Monday, my friends. This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And I did say those words, those two words in the same sentence, happy and Monday. I know it's unbelievable, right? But I mean, it's possible. It's possible. So stick around here and we're going to show you how to make each and every Monday happy, okay? And not so sad. Like it is for so many people around the world, and it used to be for me as well. This morning we have a amazing guest all the way from, well, he's French. Let's find out where he's at currently right now. Stephen, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Are you in France?
I am in France. I'm half New Zealander, but I am in France. I've been there for 20 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you needed to bust out the French language right now, you could certainly do that. Can you say, how do you pronounce legendary marketer in French? Is it just legendary marketer?
Yeah, it would be the same pretty much. I think there's no translation for that one. So
That's my very basic American question for you. Well, my friend, you obviously are well versed in English, and is this your second language? Do you speak any other languages besides French and English?
I speak only French and English, and I learned pretty much both at the same time since my dad's from New Zealand. So
Okay,
I've got both passports, and
that's enough for me. I mean, I'm fully
yeah.
impressed. I don't need you to know any more languages. I was just wondering if you happen to.
Yeah.
So your father was from New Zealand, and the other side of your family, mother is from France.
Yeah.
So tell us what led you to coming online with that sort of a interesting and diverse background. What led you all the way up to coming online here and eventually finding Legendary Marketer? I'm interested a little bit in how you grew up and then how you got into online marketing and eventually found us.
Okay, so, well, when I first was a kid, there wasn't too much. The internet was, pretty much in '95. So my dad was on computers from when it started, and but it was black and white printers. It was like 10 minutes to load an image, so there wasn't much interest at that time. And so basically I worked in woodworking and stuff, but I hated that job, like a lot of people do. And I got fired from my first job because the boss was, let's say, not a very nice person. So I got a second job, and they went out of business after a year. So then I started looking for another one, and I wasn't really motivated just because I don't want to work for anybody else. I just hated everything about that, even though the second job was pretty good. The bosses were nice. It was a couple, so they were cool and stuff. But I just don't like working for somebody else.
Okay.
But I was on the computer looking for that, so I started. When you're not motivated, you go on YouTube and stuff like that, and I ended up finding this guy called Alan Wong, I think his name was, and he was an Asian that was an immigrant in the US, and he learned how to make some apps, some iPhone apps. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is my ticket. I'm going to make some apps and I'm going to be rich about that with, doing that. It starts like that. You're pretty naive when you start off. So that's what I did. I started to learn coding, but I wasn't good, at all with that. So, I got some help. I just copied some things that went wrong and went good again. And eventually I made my first app, which was an app about, for Black Friday to get the in price when you've got like 50%, 70% off or something like that. So I made that app, and, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow kind of thing. So I did that and went online. It got accepted by Apple, and I made like $4 or $5 a month or something like
Right.
that. And you have to pay Apple to get your app on there, like $100 a year or something like that. So I was basically losing money at that point. And so since I was, my passion has always been riding BMX. I've been doing that forever. And so I thought,
BMX
okay,
bikes.
yeah, BMX bikes on skate parks and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I know how to build an app, which I didn't, but I thought I knew. And I was like, okay, I'm going to build this app where people are going to be able to find skate parks. So basically, the idea was get people that were interested, that knew a skate park, they would, pin it down on the map and share it with everyone, have a description, have some photos and stuff like that. And so I started working on that. Eventually, I realized that I was really bad at coding. So I got somebody else. I paid somebody to, I gave them the code I had and was like, okay, I need this. This is my base and, just get it done. So I forget how much I paid them, but, I paid somebody to do that. And I'm pretty sure they threw out everything and started from scratch because it was so bad. And so eventually it went online, and this time I thought, okay, the first one, nobody knew about it, and I've been in this BMX space for a long time, so I know a lot of people. So I've got a good friend of mine who's, one of the best BMX riders in the world. And I was like, okay, I need to make this video. I'm going to film you and I'll just pay a dinner for you. I got this guy to film the video, which has been a good friend as well. I was like, okay, let's do this together. I don't have much money, so I couldn't pay them, but they were good friends. They went along with it. And I started emailing all these, these people that were known, the big websites and stuff like that, and everyone was really stoked about it. And the video almost like got forgotten about, which was, I thought that was the thing that was going to get me known with that. But in fact, the app itself, everyone thought it was really cool. So when it went out, it started like exploding. I got so many downloads. I was like, okay, now this is going really well. But it just died down because there weren't any skate parks that people were adding fast enough, and I should have, in hindsight, I should have added them, added a lot at the beginning before it actually went out. So that died down as well. And so I thought, well, by the time it's going to pick up, I better make some money, with something else. So I started drop shipping because when I went on YouTube, everyone was talking about drop shipping. So I thought, okay, this is the one. So I started learning about drop shipping, and I thought, okay, so I'm going to build a store. I'm going to find some products and see how this works. So that's what I did. I did my store and I started selling some stuff. I wasn't, it's drop shipping. I think everybody realizes this by now, that the margins are like absolute.
Piddly.
Yeah, it's horrible. So when you get a sale, it feels good, but actually you're making very little money. I was profitable, but it was really not very good. And at the same time, I thought, okay, I'll do that like everybody else. I'm going to document my journey on YouTube. So I said, okay, this is what I'm learning when I'm doing this. So I'm going to do the same, this is what I did. That's what worked. That's what didn't. And I started posting just like that. There was no editing whatsoever. I was just talking on camera, just like we're doing now. And and putting it out there. So I had, I forget if it was 8 or 12 subscribers, but it was one of the two. So very, very little subscribers. I had just started, and I thought, just like everybody else, that I posted the affiliate link to the tool I was using at the time, and so I posted that, and when I had 8 or 12 subscribers, I got 2 sales of that affiliate link. It was just an affiliate link. There was no sales page. There was nothing. I was just putting that affiliate link, and that's it. And I made like $48 or something like that. I forget the exact amount, but I was like, okay, yeah, exactly.
More than your whole drop shipping career.
Exactly. so I had so little subscribers. It was like laughable.
Right.
I had been doing this for 2 weeks or something like that, and I made more money than I was doing at my store. And I was like, okay, so this is way better because the margins are 100%, and I better start learning about this right now. So that's what I did. I started learning about affiliate marketing. Doing watching everybody that was talking about that and learning about all these different things, sales pages and things like that. And eventually I ended up watching, I wish I could remember his name, Nathan Lucas. I'm sure you know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching his videos and it made so much sense. I was like, okay, and he was talking about Legendary Marketer. So that's how I learned about that. And, at the time I was still figuring things out and I didn't sign up straight away. So I was still making some money with the affiliate links and so on, but it wasn't crazy, but still it was making more than my dropshipping store. So I never really stopped anything. It all went from one step to the next to the next to the next.
Yeah.
And by the way, that YouTube channel doesn't even exist anymore. So I've created 2 since then, figuring what works, what doesn't work, and then it just doesn't work, so you start a new one and stuff. But it was always on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned about that, and eventually I decided to sign up to Legendary Marketer, because he was talking about that, and I was pretty much looking for an affiliate product, and I was like, I remember this thing. It was like maybe a year or 2 years after that, and I searched Legendary Marketer. I signed up and I went through the challenge, and it was like, okay, this is mind blowing, because I was following Gary V at the time on Instagram, I think it was, and he was always talking about TikTok. TikTok is the way you should go. TikTok is the new thing. TikTok. And I was like, yeah, but no, it's not for me. I've been doing YouTube, and that's just better. There's nothing about TikTok that's interesting. But when I went through Legendary Marketer, there was a testimonial or something. Somebody was talking about how they had success with it. And I was able to see what they were doing. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I should just try TikTok. So I tried TikTok, and I downloaded it first, checking what works, what doesn't work, what people are actually posting in business, because at the time I thought it was teenagers dancing. So I didn't see like what was the point with that. So I started looking about, on business pages and things like that, figuring out what works and what people are posting. And I was like, okay, well, I've been doing YouTube for a long time. Well, a fairly long time. I'm comfortable on camera. I can do this. So I just started doing that, because what I didn't say was when I filmed my very first YouTube video, I was like, okay, today I'm going to film this YouTube video. It's going to be my first one. It's going to be easy. So I set up my camera and I hit record, and I couldn't say a single word on camera. It was that bad. I was like, there's no way I can talk. So I stopped the camera. I was like, I need to say something. So I recorded it a second time and still nothing. And then I thought, okay, I need to just say what this channel is about. At least I'll have something. So I clicked, I hit record, and I was like, okay, so this channel is about, drop shipping at the time. And my name's Steven, and that was pretty much the entire video. It was, it was like a minute long or something like that. No editing, and I wasn't like, nobody's going to watch that video anyway, so I'm just going to upload it. And that's what actually, get you going, because if I hadn't recorded that first video, there wasn't going to be any TikToks, there wasn't going to be anything like that. So I think that if anybody's watching this and hasn't recorded anything, just start, and it's going to be bad. I always say to people, if you're going to film your first video, it's going to be terrible, but just put it out there anyway, and you'll improve, and you might even get the sale, because I had 12 subscribers or 8 when I got my first, pretty much $50. So
Yeah.
you just have to try, and if you get in front of the right people, because my channel was all about drop shipping at the time. So if somebody's watching that video and they're one step below you, maybe I was a beginner, but I had started my store, and I knew what apps to use, what everything that goes around having a store, not necessarily have it successful, but at least having something.
Yeah.
So they were one step below me, so they could learn from me, and clicked on my links. I had 2 people when I had 8 subscribers. So
yeah,
it can happen pretty fast. And on TikTok now, it's even easier, because there's no thumbnail, there's nothing. Pretty much all you have is a hook at the beginning of your video, and then it should work. And I see so many people asking, how do I post my link when I have under 1,000 subscribers? And I'm like, just don't. When I started, I was like, just get yourself to 1,000 subscribers. That will build your credibility, that will get you going and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's
I love this. There's so many things that you just touched on. First and foremost, the thing that stuck out for me was the fact that the first thing that you did, building apps, was not a success, but it led to the second thing that you did, which was drop shipping, which was also not a success, which led you to posting videos on YouTube about that drop shipping business, which got you your first sales, right? Because in those videos, you weren't trying to sell anything. You were just documenting your journey, and you were just delivering value, showing people how to do drop shipping. And in delivering value, in not trying to sell anything, not worrying about your link, not worrying about anything, after you had posted a video or 2 or 5 or whatever it was, you decided to drop an affiliate link down in the description. And you had 12 subscribers, and you got 2 sales from that without even trying. And I think that that's the definition of what I call ignorance on fire. And
exactly,
I've always said ignorance on fire is better than expertise that's paralyzed, right? I mean, you can have a head full 100%. Of information, you can be the most knowledgeable person in the world, but if you're paralyzed because you have too many choices, or you are overthinking things because you have too much information in your head that's swirling around, you're not going to take any action. It's called paralysis by analysis.
Right? I've heard about that a lot, and I always think like that's the worst thing to do. You learn so much, but if you don't do it, then you don't know what's going to go wrong. So you might as well just get to it. And so I think a lot of people are worried about what their families are going to think of, what their friends are going to think of. But as I said, like my first video, nobody even saw that video. It probably had like 3 views, or if that. So it's you just have to get going.
I also love the fact that you talked about just getting that first video up, in how when you recorded, you turned on the camera that first time, you just froze. You couldn't even say anything. You didn't have anything to say. But it was important for you to at least record the video and post it, and get over that fear that if you hit post, that your head was going to explode, or you were going to die of embarrassment, or something horrible was going to happen.
You're super scared of nothing. There's no reason to actually be scared, but you are. And I think that's most people. But you have to realize that there's nothing about that. It's just do it. It's the first time you do something. It's scary. It's going to be out there. People are going to be able to see it, but it's nobody's going to see your first video anyway. And once you have done that, you're like, okay, well, if people see it, it's no big deal anyway. So
It's
yeah,
almost good to just post something embarrassing fast so you can just get over yourself and realize that the world doesn't revolve around you. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
exactly.
we can be so self-absorbed at the beginning, and that's not a bad thing. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. We're trying to preserve our
Yeah,
our safety and our health, but we're really, we're still operating on the same software inside of our heads that we operated on thousands of years ago when we were running from saber-toothed tigers and lions and
yeah,
tigers and bears out in the wilderness. And
100%.
and
Yeah,
and and that software, or if you want to get scientific, the amygdala, the little tiny part inside of your brain that actually does fire off signals, red flag, you're
yeah,
in danger, fight or flight, right?
yeah,
uh, it's the same red alert that's going on when we're in the safety of our home with a tiny little device about to hit post, as went off thousands of years ago when we were running from a saber-toothed tiger. It's the same exact software.
yeah,
So we have a similar reaction as we're standing in front of a bear, as that when we're sitting there getting ready to press post. But we have to remind ourselves that we are safe. This is not,
yeah,
I am not in danger right now. I am just
yeah.
simply feeling fear.
Yeah, that's right. You have to realize that nothing's going to happen, and nobody cares too. Like even if somebody ended up on, my YouTube channel when it went out, or something like that, like what nothing would happen. People wouldn't care. People are way more interested in their own lives than what's going on when you do something. Like if you fall down the street in front of 1,000 people, people are going to laugh about you for 5 seconds, and then an hour later they forget about that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
your embarrassment, and we feel like it's all about us, and like the second that we post a video, it's going to go up on every news station in the world, and people are going to come to your YouTube and watch it and critique you, and it just doesn't work like that,
yeah,
right?
and I almost wish that would happen. Like if I made myself some sort of embarrassment and I got 1 million people watching my YouTube videos, it would be awesome because then I would have an audience and some people would stick around. So yeah,
Yeah.
I heard this guy that was posting on TikTok and was super successful on TikTok, and on I think a video out of two, he would say something like a word that he would mispronounce, like he would say a bat instead of a boat or something like that. And he would do that on purpose because people would see the comments. You would see the comments, and people were like, "Oh, you said this wrong. You said this wrong," and he would get so many more views as his other videos where he was saying everything right. So I think I'm going to test this out soon because it sounds
Well,
like it's going to
it's
work
been
really
a
well.
it's been a pretty common practice for a lot of marketers and copywriters that on their sales page or on their landing page, they misspell a word on purpose, just because it throws people off. It gets their attention.
Mm,
Similar to how you're talking about, it's better to do it in your content, not in your sales page, because then you get people, as you said, going crazy in the comments. People
yeah,
love to correct. People love to,
yeah,
and we realize as marketers now that we're doing this, or the quicker you know this, the quicker you realize this, the better, that all press is good press,
yeah.
positive, negative. How have you, I know that you said that you were, you've now gotten comfortable being on camera, but talk to us about how you overcame the mental fear or anxiety of being judged, both by people who are strangers, but also friends and family that you knew.
Um, That's a good question. I'm not too sure. I think um, I don't have. I think the idea of having my video or saying something. I've always been somebody that was pretty shy. When I'm around a lot of people, I tend to be the quiet one. And I've been, when I was a kid, and people would come around at my house, I would hide under the table. So it's it's kind of a similar thing, I think, when but you soon realize that people, as I said, people don't really care. So as soon as I posted my first video, it went gradual, because at first nobody well, you first have to record your video, so I couldn't say a word at the beginning. But I had to put that out there. So I told myself that I'm going to put this video out today, and when I say something, I like to actually do it. I hate, not doing something that I said I was going to do, whether it's to myself or to somebody else. So there was no question that video was coming out. So I had to film that, and then it sort of it just went gradually. Friends and family, they don't watch my videos, they don't care. And some people know that I have a video, but they don't really care about that. They're not into business anyway, so that's no big deal. Same goes for most of my friends. Some people are, own businesses and stuff like that, but it's not many people have online businesses, so they don't really care about that either. And then as your audience grows, you'll get some haters. I get some haters all the time, but I just realized that these people, they're below me. Like, people that actually that have successful businesses, that are better at marketing than I am, or make better videos or something like that, have a bigger following, whatever it may be. They won't. They'll never comment on my videos having something. So the people that actually do, the actual haters, you just have to realize that they hate their lives more than you. So it's almost, you almost want to help them rather than
Feel
spend
sorry
that
for 'em,
time.
right?
Yeah,
That's a great point, man.
yeah, at a certain point, I would respond to them, and I thought, I would say something clever or something, or that I thought was clever, anyways. But after a while, I'm like, just, I hope. Sometimes I'll just say, I hope your life goes better soon, or something like that. And usually, I don't get any response back from that. So.
It really is so true. You just made a wonderful point. You will never see somebody who is, successful or more successful than you are, commenting negative stuff on your videos or about your business, ever. You will only always hear from people negatively who are criticizing you, who are doing worse than you are, or who are doing less, or who are doing nothing.
Yes, and it's not only money, or your audience or something like that. Like, some people don't care about having an audience or making a bunch of money. They're employees, and that works for them. But if they're happy, they're not going to comment, or something about. Some people would look from the outside and say, oh, these people are doing way worse because they're making less money. They don't have a following, they don't have this and that, but maybe they're happy in their own way, and they won't comment anything. And
Right.
some people are, super successful money wise, and they'll hate themselves as well. So
it teaches you a lot about human psychology, doesn't it?
Exactly. You just realize that after being on social media for a while and stuff, and especially on TikTok, because I find that TikTok is way harsher than YouTube most of the time. And well, I do have a bigger following on TikTok as well, but I just find that people are, and then you check their profile and you understand everything. I had this hater one, yeah, because they never post anything, so
It's
I had
it's so
this
true.
this guy at the time. He was always posting negative things on in the comments and stuff like that. And he was having so much hate. And I checked his profile. I was like, okay, I get it.
It's sad but funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's sad but funny because yeah, you really just you're like, wow, man, this person's got a sad existence, you
yeah,
know. I mean, it's just imagine the life when you actually download TikTok to just go on there and just be a troll, and you're not producing anything, you're not creating anything, you're not lifting anybody up, is all that you're doing
yeah,
is just trying to shit on people. Imagine how
yeah,
miserable you have to be. So it's a wonderful lesson in human psychology to really understand that there's so many people out there who are either, they're either angry and miserable, or they don't know, they don't have any direction in life, right?
yeah,
And then there's very few people. You're talking about the people who are either happy or more successful than you are wherever you're at. And that's a very small percentage of
yeah,
people. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I've always looked at succeeding as not really that difficult, because the majority of people are miserable,
I'm
and the
doing
majority of
nothing about
people
it.
are doing nothing about it. Right.
Yeah, because those haters that are spending so much time watching a video because they have to watch the video, and then they have to spend time commenting, finding a comment that they think will hurt you, which most of I've never
Right.
gotten hurt by a comment. So, and you're like, if you spend that much time doing something productive and whatever it may be, maybe it's not, maybe you don't care about money, but doing something that will make you happy, then do that instead of commenting and hating
The
on
sky's the
people. But
limit, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
So
let's talk a little technical stuff here. I saw a question come through. How did you get approved as an affiliate when you had no social media or stores? Making landing pages, I need to be approved as an affiliate. Um, what affiliate sites did you start with? So how did you talk
well,
us through how to be new? Because a lot of people don't, they think, I think, when they see people who are successful, they think they didn't start with 0 subscribers, or they didn't. So when you were initially creating that YouTube channel, or even if you were starting today, how do you go about just being brand new and setting up your social media, setting up your websites, and also or your funnels, and then communicating to people, back to companies, if you do get declined, and letting them know uh, that what you're doing, or providing more explanation. Talk to us a little bit about those first early days, or how you would
yeah.
go about finding affiliate offers to promote really in any niche.
Well, so the first part of the question would be how I started, and I think for what I was doing with the dropshipping business was you just had to have an active store. And when you had that, you could get approved. So you didn't need to make X amount of money or anything like that. And then I just documented my journey. So that goes in, that's what I would do if I was starting from scratch, is whatever platform you choose, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or something else, I would just say, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is my plan. And, just follow me if you want to learn more about that, whatever the business is, whatever the niche is, or anything like that. And I think that you're right. A lot of people think that you have to be an expert and start with 1 million followers. But really, like, if you share your journey, you'll grow, or people will relate to you. And so the affiliate link is just, I think I would just find something that would accept me with what I have. So with the drop shipping store, I had a store that was open. Or I think pretty with Legendary, I think you have to go through the challenge. But there are some things in your niche, no matter what you do, that will accept you. So once you know what you're passionate about, what you want to learn about, I think you just have to share what's going on with your journey and say what went wrong as well, because people relate to you. If you're only saying like, this is the best way to do this, this is the best way to do this, and you can only do this, instead of saying, this went horribly wrong, I lost X amount of money and a bunch of time, and I have to start all over again. And then the next time, maybe something will work. So, okay, so I had this failure last time, but this time I made, X result. And people will relate way more than somebody who's just an expert at everything. And there's a place for the experts as well, because some people are extremely successful, and they will have some really interesting stuff to teach you. But if you say what's going wrong as well, I think that's something that's going to help you a lot. And
Yeah.
I haven't been doing enough of that, and I should do way more.
Well, it's a better hook sometimes to just say,
Yeah.
hey, I've lost, I lost 15 hours doing this. Warning, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's I lost 15 hours doing this in my dog in training my dog. Warning, don't do this, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if that's the hook of your video, it oftentimes is, it's like a train wreck, right? You got to think about marketing sometimes like a car wreck. Nobody pays attention to all the cars that are just driving by normally every day. But when
Yeah.
there's a car wreck, everybody slows down and can't help but to watch it, right?
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
same analogy applies in marketing, that a lot of times people are just scrolling through, and when they're seeing, I succeeded with this, I did this, I'm living great, I'm happy, my life is perfect. That's what, is so much all over social media.
Yeah.
Is people acting like their life is perfect, happy. You just kind of get numb to that. But when you see somebody like, saying that they had made a big mistake, or something embarrassing happening, or they need to make a confession, or they screwed up, or whatever, it's like, oh, hold on a second, let me look
Yeah.
at that, right? It's why
And
the news is filled with negative stuff.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to use that to your advantage.
And some people are actually coming back to that. I've realized over the past few months that there's some people that are just posting, some people that are super successful, at least compared to me, and most people would consider successful at least. And some people will go way back in the day and make videos about my biggest loss and how I lost this much amount of money, and I think that everyone has these. I've talked about, the apps that went wrong, and the drop shipping store that went wrong and stuff like that. And some people have had way bigger losses than me, and especially once you're further down the line and you start spending more money, on ads or whatever it may be, and you might lose a lot of money. I've done that myself with some ads as well. And you will lose some money, you will have things that go wrong,
Yeah,
and you might
embrace
as well
them
talk
and
about
talk
it.
about them and turn those struggles into strengths with your content.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my best pieces of content, and most popular stories that I've told over the years, and I told it when I first got started. When I came online, I would talk about, because when I came online, I was still doing network marketing, and my first affiliate venture was selling training to other network marketers about how to generate leads online. That was literally the first type of training or course that I was an affiliate for, and that I started to create actual courses, coaching, and events on. And what I would talk about was how I was running around offline putting signs in my yard, putting, magnets on my
Yeah.
truck. My truck had more rust than paint. I'd be driving around, town with rust and paint flying off of my truck, but I had that sign and I'm trying to advertise. Nobody's paying attention. And then, I'm bringing I'm harassing friends and family. I'm becoming a member of the NFL, the No Friends Left Club. I'm droning on and on about, all these failures, only to make the point that now what I've discovered is a way to generate leads online, to where I can
Yeah.
become the hunted instead of the hunter, right?
Yeah.
In just yesterday, I generated 5 quality leads online. And
Yeah.
so when you opt in and put in your email address on this page, I'm going to actually show you on the next page in a training video how I did that. I'll see you on the next page.
Yeah, and people love that because when they see that kind of stuff, they're like, actually, he's not super special or anything like that, and he's
Mhm.
making money. Because when you see people online, even when they're not necessarily super successful, but you see them online, it's like they think there's somebody super special just because they made a video online. But when you say something like that, people are like, oh, actually, he's like me. He's not super special. So maybe I could do that as well. And then they sign up. And
And that's the whole key is you hit on this, you touched on this a few moments ago. The whole key to this, the whole secret to this is being relatable.
yeah,
It's showing people that you're only a couple of steps ahead of them. I mean, I am probably 50,000 steps ahead of a lot of people who are watching the show live right now. But my goal every day is to actually come here and be as relatable as possible.
yeah,
So when people are listening to me, it's one of the reasons why I mean, look at me, for God's sakes. I look like I just crawled out of a cardboard box. I haven't shaved in at least a week. I was sick for a week, and I don't think I've shaved, and I've been well for a week. Maybe it's been 2 weeks, for God's sakes.
yeah,
I got a shirt that I just picked up off the floor. I couldn't find my hat. This is one that I've thrown on the damn floor for so many times it's fallen apart. So I had to go get my hat out of the truck. But I just sit here every day in the same desk in the same spot with the same shirt and hat on, and just basically talk shit, laugh, talk about my failures, not talk about how much I got in my bank account, not talk
yeah,
about how much in sales we're doing every month, and pound that in, trying to sound superior or sound like I'm 50,000 steps ahead of everybody. The truth is that the most important stories for me to tell, even where I'm at in my career right
yeah.
now, are the stories about when I first got started and about those challenges and
Yeah,
struggles.
I think that's the most relatable ones are the ones when you start, when you have nothing. Because after that, when things are going a bit better and you start to make some money, people, they're like, okay, but he's made it, or whatever they may think, but at least
Right.
he's making a living, or he's making this much money, or maybe he's a multi-millionaire or something like that. But when you tell the stories of when you're just starting out, and this is the struggles I've had, and this is what's went wrong, and people actually relate to that more. And I think the people that are watching that, don't want to put a video out because they have no success in anything, because they haven't started yet, and maybe they've tried something in the past and it didn't work, and so they decided to stop. You just have to try again, but this time, tell people that you're just brand new, and people are going to relate way more, and you're probably going to have way less haters as well when you're starting out, because people will cheer you on.
Well, that's
And
what I found, and I try to tell our affiliates in our community this very thing, that when you start to get successful, and all of you will, if you apply the skills and don't quit, right? You'll eventually begin to have success, because it's a it's a numbers game. You know, if you drive enough people to that landing page, a certain amount will opt in and a certain amount will buy. If you
Yeah,
haven't had that opt in or that sale yet, it's because you haven't driven enough people there and you haven't quite hit your numbers,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you'll eventually find what those numbers are. Hey, this landing page is converting at 30%. This sales page is converting at 4%. But you will always drive more people, and connect with more people, not by talking about all your big successes, but by talking about things that they can relate to. So the point I was making was, we have a lot of people who are having a lot of success in our community promoting a lot of different products. And the one thing that's important that I've now started to really kind of, because we have a big enough group of people who are succeeding at this level, is you have to start toning down your success a little bit, because
yeah,
it becomes unrelatable, and
yeah,
people look at it and they hear it, and it actually, they think it's too good to be true. So
yeah,
those stories that people can relate to, those stories that people actually believe, like, hey, I generated 5 quality leads today, or I'm making $50 to $100 a day in commissions, not 5,000, not 10,000.
yeah,
People
yeah,
actually look at those stories sometimes and actually become more skeptical. So it's a balancing act, even as you get successful, to share stories that are still relatable.
exactly. Because if I look at someone like Jeff Bezos, or one of those billionaires, like I can't relate at all to any one of them. And like, yeah, I mean, props to them, they're doing great, but it does nothing for me. And when I see somebody making a good amount, maybe it's going to be 1 million, or 10 or whatever, I still relate to them way more than those people up there. And if I had just started and I was just looking, I still wanted to see those people maybe making $10,000 a month. But if they were making 1 million a month, I would be like, yeah, great. I would probably watch their video, but do something else afterwards, because I just wanted to see their story, and I could not relate to anybody, especially when you're just starting out. When I
Yeah,
first started making the apps, I thought I was going to be rich overnight, but
right.
you, you quickly realize that it doesn't work like that, and you have to put a bit more effort into it, and understand marketing and things like that. So
So
you
you've
know,
given some great tips, and I want to bring this in for a landing. This time has flown by. We've just been talking like old buddies here, and it's been wonderful. Give us your best piece of advice for creating content on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, but then also YouTube. And what is the difference between, platforms like, what is the difference between all of them in your eyes, but also and mostly the difference between like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and creating short form content on those platforms, and then YouTube, where you're most likely creating that longer form content?
yeah. So I think the short form content, as I touched on a bit earlier on in this interview, is a lot, a lot easier than on YouTube. And I think that anybody who's just starting out, if they want to see their first success, it's short form content. And I haven't had a ton of success on Instagram, but on TikTok, it's just about finding what works, and it's quite easy to do that. You just find the people that are doing well, and then you use a tool that's called sort for TikTok, and you just sort by, and it sorts from the most viewed to the less viewed. And obviously you have to watch out that the content isn't like 10 years old or something like that, which TikTok I don't think is 10 years old, but whatever, that it's not too old.
So that's called Sort for TikTok.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
an app, or that's a Chrome
Yeah,
extension,
it's
or
an extension. I
a
think if
Chrome
you look it
extension?
up on Google and you type sort for TikTok, it
Sort
will,
for TikTok.
yeah,
Sort for TikTok.
yeah, and 3 words,
Okay.
sort for TikTok.
Okay.
And then you just have to, create your own, but find what's working, find what's working in their hook and their story and everything like that, but also create it for yourself. You don't want to just copy and paste because it's them, it's not you, and you'll most likely fail. But still, it's a lot easier, and as I said, just get started.
Mm.
On YouTube, it's quite a bit harder because you have all these elements of um, the hook, but you also have to get people staying on the channel or at least a video until the end, maybe get them to watch another video, and you have to have a good thumbnail, and you have to have the good keywords, and you have to have the right audience. So, but I still believe that in the long term, it's better to have a YouTube channel. It's been going on for a longer period of time. The long form content is going to be way more helpful to people, and you still can mix it with shorts, but
Mm.
I think long form content is still here to stay, even though people prefer to have short form content. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Man,
that's
that's great, and I agree. Long form content adds more credibility to you because people can hear more from you. Do you go live at all on any platforms, or is that something that you haven't ventured into, or just choose not to?
I did that on TikTok a while back, and I think it's a good thing to do that. I just don't get around to it because it's just not my thing. But it's good. I mean, the times I did go live, I always got some sales. So if people are struggling to get sales, maybe go live and talk about something. Maybe have some outlines on what you want to talk about, because the first time I went live, it was pretty bad because I had nothing to say and nobody was watching, because that's what happens on TikTok. When you go
And look
live,
at what
no,
we're doing right here. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes find a friend, find a
yeah,
colleague, business partner. I mean, doesn't particularly mean you're sharing a bank account, but find somebody who you can bring on an interview. Find somebody that you can create something together. There's
yeah,
so many different ways to be creative. Most of the time, we're just afraid to reach out. But oftentimes, when you bring other people into your marketing, it can add credibility, can help you with talking points, it can help move a conversation along. But the
yeah,
biggest thing is when you tell other people's story and you let other people talk about their journey and their success or their failures, and you just have somebody else that you're showcasing, it actually adds to your credibility. It's one of the archetypes of marketing, which is the interviewer, and that's really the role that somebody like Oprah has built her entire career on. She's never
yeah,
been the guru or the expert. She is the interviewer who builds her credibility by having association with other
yeah,
people. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not. But she still remains in that power position because she's the one who is they're being seen with other people, and there's some element of credibility when you're just simply seen with other people, or there's other people that you're showcasing who are doing the same thing as you.
yeah, exactly. And it helps you stay for longer. Excuse me, if you're going live, because we know, as I said, on TikTok, when you first go on live, there's nobody watching you unless you have like 1 million subscribers or something. But
Mm.
if you're somebody normal, nobody's going to watch you at the beginning, but then it starts to build up after a while. So if you stay 3 hours, there will be some people that stay on, and people like to have a personality. As I said, every time I've been live, I've gotten some sales, so it
Yeah,
works.
one of the benefits of going live is just that practice of being in front of the camera, right?
Yeah,
Anything that you can do that makes you that is sort of like, you can think of it like batting practice. I'm thinking about my baseball days. The more time that I spent swinging the bat, just the better I got at hitting.
yeah,
And if you're uncomfortable in front of the camera, I want to just be very crystal clear with everybody. There is no shortcut to getting good on camera
yeah,
except
100%.
getting on
Yeah,
camera. There's no shortcut. There's no guru who's going to let you touch the thread of their robe, and you're going to be, like those videos where we see where they're throwing holy water on people and they're having doesn't exist in the marketing world, friends. It may exist in the spiritual world. Maybe you've had an experience or seen an experience like that. But my friends, I have never in my life seen a guru throw holy water or miracle water or let them, somebody pray over somebody and lay hands on them. And suddenly they were just magical in front of the camera.
Yeah,
It takes practice.
Yeah, and if you watch Mr. Beast, for example, who's the biggest YouTuber on the planet, I'm sure you watch his first videos and they're probably terrible and not filmed very well, and the lighting is probably terrible. And
He's still a little awkward. I mean, that guy is still, you can tell that he grew up and was not the, I guarantee you that dude never won a popularity contest in high school.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just an average dude who, through lots of different practice, testing, trial and error, figured out what the hell works on YouTube, and now has capitalized on that. And his biggest secret to success is the fact that he just never quit. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
he started and never stopped.
Yeah, I mean, who reads the dictionary or counts to 100,000 on camera? Like, he would. I mean, that's proper commitment.
So what advice, what do you know now that you would have liked to have told yourself at the beginning of your journey? And this is obviously going to be good advice for people who are also just starting their journey. What did you need to hear?
I think that it was good that I was so delusional that I thought that I was going to be rich overnight, because, that got my foot in the door. But after that, I think it was just, keep going, just improve every single time. That's something that's important, because there's lots of people asking. I see that in Facebook groups and stuff that are like, yeah, my videos, I'm not getting sales, or I can't get to 1,000 followers or something like that on TikTok. And it's just improve, like, watch what everybody else is doing, do that, hopefully better, and share your own story. Don't try to look like somebody else. And I think that's what I would tell myself, like, just try to improve is the most important thing, because at the beginning it will suck, but hopefully over time, if you improve every single video, no matter if you're posting once a week on YouTube or 3 times a day on TikTok. At one point, that was what I was doing, because I thought, okay, if I'm going to make this work, then I better post a lot. And I had this challenge on my YouTube channel as well, was like, can I get to 1,000 subscribers on a new TikTok account in a week? And if I had to do that, then I had to post a lot. So I was posting 3 times a day, and it does work, but you just have to improve over time and see where you want to go, have a goal at the end, because, or at least, a stepping stone, because that's what's going to keep you going. Know what you want, and, hopefully it will work.
Yeah.
And
great.
Don't try and push things down people's throats as well. If you're trying to sell something, like, don't push it down. Maybe just say there's a link in the description, like, if you want to check that out, and that's it. Don't do more than that. And
there's a tradition inside of the 12-step programs. It's called basically it's attraction rather than promotion. And that was something that I learned in these kind of recovery programs, was the art of attraction versus promotion. And everybody's promoting, right? Everybody's, as you said, trying to jam things down people's throats, convince, arm twist. But if you become valuable, if in recovery, it was what the message was, live your life in an attractive way that people look at you and want what you have, versus living in maybe a shitty way or not paying attention to how you're living and trying to promote things, going and, as you said, pushing things down people's throats. That lesson applies here in entrepreneurship and marketing as well. if you market in a way that's attractive, if you and in a way that's sometimes acting like you don't need people's sales, like
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
care if they buy
Yeah,
something from you, right? The most confident and attractive people in the world are usually people who are not desperate and thirsty for somebody to notice them, right?
yeah, and that works for everything.
It does.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does. It really
So
does. Well, brother, this has been fun. It's the time has flown by. Really, we need to have a follow up here just to keep the conversation
for
going.
sure.
Please come back and see me and keep me posted on your journey. We'll send everybody to your TikTok, Instagram, and I'll review your YouTube link one more time. And brother, stay legendary. Great interview. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot. It's
See you
been
later, buddy.
awesome. See ya.
All right, my friends, you can follow Steven over on TikTok and Instagram at StevenBiz1. And that's spelled just like it sounds, STEPHENBIZ and the number 1 over on TikTok and Instagram, StevenBiz1. And if you want to check him out over on YouTube, you can find him at StevenBiz1678. Steven Biz 1678. And you can see how he's built his YouTube channel. And again, he just gave you some of the most clear and powerful advice, which is, and he even dropped a wonderful tool there that, you can use, which is Sort for TikTok. And go out there and look at what other people are doing and even check him out, not only to support him and learn from him, but also to see how he has created all of his channels from scratch. There's a great way to see where somebody's come from. It's a great way to see how far somebody has come. And that is to scroll all the way down to the very first videos on somebody's channel or on somebody's, social media channel, and you can see their first videos, right? You can see, wow, this person really is coming from scratch. This person really did have 2 views or 12 subscribers. Every single one of us started with 0, okay? And then got our first subscriber, our first follower, our first email subscriber, and our first sale. So if you're feeling in any way defeated, or if you're feeling like you've got a big mountain to climb, it's probably more like a molehill, and there'll be many more molehills along the way. You'll know when it's a mountain, okay? You'll know when it's a mountain. And a mountain is more like a health tragedy or a bout of depression or something that really is truly, you'll know a mountain when you see one and when you feel one. These little molehills along the way of you getting your first 1,000 subscribers, I know it may feel like a mountain, but I promise you it's just a molehill. And there'll be lots of little molehills. You just need to keep stepping. And if you need to step over it a little bit higher, then you can lift those knees up a little bit higher, get those hamstrings working. But Steven illustrated his story of failing several times, doing several things before he finally found success, making his first couple of sales with only 12 subscribers on his YouTube channel. That is how we all start. I had a similar entry into this industry and into this business, as did every single other person that you see succeeding. Now, my friends, it's your time. Stay legendary. See us back here tomorrow for another episode, and get the heck out of here. Go have a great Monday. Peace.